Our next guests are going to be Soph and Super Kev. They've just polished off a big podcast. They had Tom on. They had Dan Potts on. I think who else did they have? I think Judges was on as well.
How many people do you think Tom banned or blocked during that pod?
He got a hold of our subscriber list and banned each, cross-referenced the two, and immediately.
He did end a show once. Now this is all making sense. And he said something like, "If you go over and listen to them, I will ban you." So this is all coming full circle.
That's what he did. Yeah. Just doing the randomizer while
we actually have to Mike. Just have to bring this to your attention. You actually owe Tom Canton some form of retaliation for.
Yeah, well, I was trying to. I tried to pull it off during this podcast, but he might have gotten to some of his colleagues before I did. We will find out. But yeah, I had a few ideas in the hopper. But the one idea that he cannot stop me from. Without disinviting me to the wedding. So he doesn't want to be. He does not want the ball in my court on the 26th of August.
I still think we should have done we could still do it, but remember we were talking about the gift the three of us were going to do for him, the painting.
But just of himself, like.
No, remember I wanted to have the three of us like paint him in Georgia. Remember, like, you ever watched?
I don't remember that. I thought you were kidding.
Like, and it would be a big fucking one too, like obnoxiously large, right? Where it's like large enough where people are gonna see it, but he can't say like, "I don't want this." You know?
Are you gonna take it to the wedding by hand?
That could be a little difficult.
I'm not able to go to the wedding. I'm in someone else's wedding the same.
Yeah, and Andy doesn't like Tom. All right, so we're going to begin.
All right,
by bringing in a legend, a man who scored 59 goals for the Arsenal, more goals for Everton, other goals for Fenerbahce. The guy is a legend everywhere he goes. We love him. Super Kev, welcome back to the Gooners Pod-A-Thon.
Hi guys, Mike. Who scored goals for Fenerbahce, by the way?
I got the wrong team.
Trabzonspor, man. Come on, get it right. Come on, the champions as well. Come on, get it right.
I'm sorry, I'm exhausted. I've been podcasting for 3.5 hours. I'm exhausted by now. Only 23 and a half left. How was your show? You've just polished off a massive panel on the Highbury squad.
Yes, very good panel. We had lead judges. We had Dan Potts. We had Tom Canton, Harry Symeou, obviously Sophie and myself, and we done all our predictions and everything for the season, etc. So it was a good show. Well worth watching it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you were here helping to kick cancer rather than watching the Highbury squad, go back and watch the replay tomorrow night at 11 p.m. after we're done with the podcast, because I'm sure it was good. Sophie, great to have you.
Hi. How are you doing? Now? Hi, everyone. I'm good. How are you? How's everyone going? How's it going?
Doing lovely.
Hi, Eoin and Andy. How's it going, boys?
I'm about to leave. I had to wait for your beautiful face so you could replace my beautiful face.
It's going to be a tough task, though, mate.
Yeah.
Very tough.
I've got to go do dadly duties and take my son to ice hockey practice. So
nice.
Yeah, listen, you enjoy.
I will. I'll listen on the car. Good luck. Have fun.
Take care.
And
see you tomorrow. All right. So here we go. Now, the real podcasters are here. We are in the midst of our 3 of 27. I'm in trouble here. And we've already given away some great stuff. We've given away a Lee Dixon signed shirt, which was given away while Lee was on with us. Great segment. We have given away a piece of Ruth Beck art, and we are going to give away in this hour, at the top of the hour, a Kevin Campbell signed Legends shirt. I hope that's okay, Kev. I think I asked you whether that was okay at some point.
Well, you've already given the game away now, so I can't say no, can I?
I'm getting a little too comfortable with some of these relationships, I think.
I know, Magic. I know.
But once we've shared a beer and once he's named my son, I feel like a shirt is is doable. But we have a grand prize which we're drawing at the end of the show of a new home shirt signed by Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Tomiyasu. We have signed memorabilia having to do with Cesc Fabregas. We've got brand new kits like this. Tons of stuff over the next 23 and a half hours. But guys, how you been? The best Arsenal podcast has joined another Arsenal podcast to help raise money for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. But I missed you guys on the summer tour. I missed you.
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys smashed it. You did such a great job. The Arsenal America group did a great job. Owen will laugh. You know what I was just doing? I was like, why isn't it working? I'm trying to put these comments up in chat, and I just realized this is not my show.
It's not your show, so.
Control freak.
It's just an automatic, kind of like, oh, look, yeah, they're saying hello. I'll just say hi back. Oh, gosh.
We've already got about 15 hosts for this show anyway, so you might as well. Come on.
Oh, no, but yeah, I mean, Kev and I watched from afar, but we covered it. And of course, we had you on. We had Aston on. Tomorrow, we've got Tiffany on to come in and say hi and give us a little bit of a breakdown too. I mean, it was incredible. I actually think that the US fans did and picked up where the away fans especially, but also the fans at the Emirates last season in kind of really bringing everyone together and feeling like there was more of a togetherness and support of the team. And that trickled through to the US. And then Baltimore and Orlando were just insane. And I think that added another dimension to the connectivity between the fans, the players, and the club. And I think something Kev and I talk about quite often is when you have players you can fall in love with again, it makes it so much easier. And I think that was evident, especially with the kit launch in Orlando and the club choosing to do that and having everyone involved. And, it was magic.
And it's the way they done it as well, involving, Aston, bless him, I thought he was brilliant on it, and Little Islington and the actual US fan base were involved in it. I just think it was really incredible. I love the energy that comes with the US fans. They always bring a certain energy to the table. And but do you know what I really loved as well, Magic? I'll be honest with you, Owen. I'll tell you this. I love the way some of the players actually mingled with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I believe some players came down to a bar and were in there and discussing certain stuff, and it seemed as though everyone started to connect. That's how it used to be.
It was a bit managed. I mean, it kind of has to be, I suppose.
It has to be managed, Magic. But
I mean, and by managed, I mean, there's kind of a human wall somewhat in between the players and the crowd to a certain extent. Although when Aaron Ramsdale walks in during his introduction into the kit launch trivia event, he just strolls in and sits down next to people who didn't even realize who was sitting down next to him. It was hilarious. You knew he was going to be coming in from somewhere because by then you'd learned the pattern that the person who the trivia question was about was going to stroll in any second now. So we knew he was going to walk in, but he was already sitting down at a table with his baseball cap on backwards and just the coolest looking dude. And so, yeah, it was, other than that, though, you were not necessarily going to get too close to the current players, but you had Ray there, Parlor, you had Gilberto there, who you could just walk up and take a picture with, have a chat with, Gunnersaurus, who you could take a picture of stuff that, of him and his body.
Magic.
And,
if Lee Judges could get close to Edu, I mean, things do happen. Things do happen.
Super journalist Lee Judges.
I'm still certain there were a team of snipers pointing rifles at that man. 100%.
I didn't see him in Orlando. Like we spent time together in Orlando, but surprisingly for Lee and I, we didn't spend that much time together. and mostly because I just didn't want the club to revoke my credentials for being associated with him specifically.
See, just to jump into the football stuff, Kev, we talked there about sort of these active steps that the club are taking to get close to the fans, to be more relatable, to build that connection. But if we take it onto the football field for a second and the backroom staff, you're somebody, obviously, as we all know, who has been around at multiple clubs at different times, difficult times and positive times and stuff. But when you look at the way things are going now, the transfer business, the style of play, the energy on the pitch, the fans, I mean, like a sold-out Emirates crowd for the Sevilla game in a pre-season friendly, the energy inside the stadium is something building here. You know, we can talk about these Amazon documentaries and interviews and behind-the-scenes footage all we want, but is there something tangible out on the football field that is starting to reiterate or reverberate into the stands? Is there something building at Arsenal right now?
Yeah, there is. And the funny thing, here's the narrative that you're going to hear when we see it. It's only pre-season. It's only pre-season. Then we're playing Chelsea, and then that's the big testing game. We come through that with flying colours, but it's only pre-season. And then you go into the Sevilla game, and you think to yourself, okay, and you beat them 6, and then it's only pre-season. So, we see it, we feel it, but let's be honest. The key is Friday. The key is going to a place that is a difficult place to go. Crystal Palace against our old captain, who we all won, to be fair, don't we? We all Palace won. But you can see on the pitch, you could see with the energy, you could see with the commitment, you could see with the style of play. I've always said it's the players. The manager could put anything he wants on a board, or he could say what he wants in training. The key is the players have to go on the pitch and do it. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a different energy. We're seeing a tenacity in this team, which if we have that consistently through the season, we're going to have a great season. That's for sure. The key is, do we have the squad? Because that's what it's going to take, because there's going to be injuries. Do we have the squad to continue that momentum into the season? And I think I touch wood. I hope that we can keep it up, because, it's really important. Now we've got a centre forward. Now we've got a player who not only can he score goals, he can harass defenders. He could hold the ball up. He can do. He's not Aubameyang, and he's not Lacazette. He's a bit of both. He can do everything, and he can play wide, and he's mobile. So I think Jesus is going to make us better.
And he's only 25, guys. He's 25 years old, but he comes with so much experience, Eoin. He's played in the Champions League. He's won Premier Leagues. He's been at the forefront of a lot of stuff and managed by one of the best in modern day football. One of the best
ever.
Yeah. We have 2 guys under 25 who combined have 12 years of top flight experience. I mean, and captaincies and titles and stuff. I mean, Odegaard being the other one.
Well, Zinchenko's no chopped liver either in terms of the experience that he's had, especially at City.
True.
And captain of his national team.
And not in a way that puts them, with just enormous mileage under them either, because 25 top level for a long time, Gabby Jesus, sure, but it's not like he's played every game, every minute of every game either. So he's had these experiences and this career trajectory, but he's a fairly fresh 25-year-old as well. I mean, I look at this guy and just I think if he's here through his early 30s, there's a lot he could get accomplished.
See on that, Soph, with Gabriel Jesus. Originally, when those links started propping up, people looked at, his goal record for Man City, and people sometimes thought that was underwhelming and stuff like that. And I want to say this quite quietly in front of Kev, because I don't want to insult him, okay? And that's that I think that strikers are probably the most egotistical players on a football pitch, and they have to have that selfishness, they have to have that confidence within themselves. And do you think there's potentially a thing here with Gabriel Jesus where it's the main man syndrome, where he has to come into a club where he feels like he's the main man, he's the superstar? And I know he said in interviews it's about being part of a team, but surely at this part in his career, he's just willing to take that spotlight and step up and be Arsenal's talisman. Do you think that he's potentially going to fulfill that there?
No, it's a great point. There's a confidence and there's cockiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Rambo 2.0 had so much confidence, which I think towards the end of the season evolved into a bit of cockiness, and I felt like he needed to be brought down a peg or two. Jesus has come from Manchester City, and in a way, especially kind of being in Brazil's national team, does he really have anything to prove to anyone at Arsenal in terms of what he's achieved so far in his career? I think he knows coming in, he's probably the best player. And I believe that there's a humbleness to him with that. And that doesn't happen so often. Neymar is cocky and arrogant. There's players like that. Benzema, there's a cockiness to him, but he's a great teammate. He's been a great teammate at Real Madrid. Lewandowski, kind of the same. So I think that he comes in knowing who he is, what he can offer, and a deep belief in what he thinks he can achieve at the club. I think he's coming to make a point. I think he wants to be one of the best strikers in the world, and he's hungry. You win what he did at City, and you come into the Arsenal being that hungry. Ian Wright was cocky, but he was a lovable cocky. Super Kev, he had a swagger and a cockiness, but there's a humbleness.
You can't wear them. You can't wear them jackets without having a certain level.
See, this is where I put the pictures of him and Righty in the wigs
right,
and
yeah,
the leather jackets.
I'll never reach your level of.
But I think just to add to that, Soph, if I can, I think there has to be a confidence in what you do. To get to the position is one thing. For a position like number 9 to open up for Gabriel Jesus from Manchester City, because let's be honest, there's times where he didn't play, but most of the big games, if you watch the big games, he played. But a lot of the big games, he didn't play as number 9, he played wide. But that's Pep Guardiola for you. But the fact of the matter is he was trusted to play. Now, he knows the manager, he knows the system, he knows the training. Arsenal got rid of Aubameyang. Arsenal, Lacazette's contract run out. And the only person really you got to really contend with is Eddie. So he's coming in knowing I'm the guy. I'm the guy. At 25, best years are ahead of him as well. Coming into his prime. We're going to get his best years, guys. This is his best years. So now we're going to need players who are going to complement him. He's going to make players better, but we need players who are going to complement him. Because
I think we got the better Brazilian in the transfer window too. I'd never wanted Richarlison at our club. I just didn't think culturally he was the right fit either. And
he's the perfect fit for Spurs. And I don't mean that from a competitive standpoint. I mean from a personality standpoint. He essentially took over for Eric Lamela in the category of most punchable, dislikable, So
no, what I was going to say there is a point you made was Gabriel Jesus, how young he still is, surprisingly, for the amount he's achieved in the game. But Kev, reverting back to that, which is the sort of youthful thing that we're seeing with this squad, something that's been made a massive deal out of, potentially too much of a deal out of, is the Arsenal captaincy. And we've seen Martin Odegaard pick that up, officially been announced by Arsenal prior to the Sevilla game. Do you think that's the right avenue to go down, to invest that captaincy in somebody who's going to be here for the long term? Or do you think it's potentially a risk handing that armband to such a young player?
No, it's not a risk. Look, he's captain of his national team. You look at Zinchenko's captain of his national team. These are the guys who you've got to lean on. Now, I think Odegaard's a safe bet, if I'm honest with you. He's no problem. He works hard. He's supposed to be the schemer in the team, isn't he? He's supposed to be the creator, the schemer. Now he's got a striker up there. You know, we're expecting him to get a lot more assists, etc. But I just think he's a good guy as well. Behind the scenes, he's a good guy. You know, you're not going to have any problems with that guy. As I've heard, he's the first in and last out as well. So if you ever want a captain, that's the captain. Captain's going to lead by example. So that's fantastic. So I think last season, Kieran Tierney would have got it. But the big problem is his availability.
Yeah.
He's not available all the time. And you cannot rely on that because you need to be a coach out on the pitch as well.
In case you haven't seen it, and I'm going to pull a Sophie now by having well-timed media. In case you haven't seen it, here's Martin Odegaard about a week and a half ago, a little over a week and a half ago, knowing that he was the captain's pick, but not saying that he was the captain's pick.
Yeah. Martin, there's been a lot of talk about the captaincy. I know you haven't been told, and you're probably not allowed to tell us if you have been, but is it something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always enjoy responsibility. I'm a captain for my country, so I think that's a nice experience, and I enjoy that. But I don't know anything about the situation here. I think that question is for Mikkel and the club. But yeah, if you ask me, of course, I will be happy to do that.
You're not worried it's been a bit of a curse in the last few years, the Arsenal captaincy?
No, it's not something I think about. I think about the future and to make that as good as possible. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know anything about
curse. What is the curse, though? What, like, Aubameyang was really good for us for what, 2 years?
I mean, do you really not believe that there's some sort of bugaboo with the? I don't believe that it's mysticism, but like.
I mean, Koscielny was a good captain. He just got injured a lot, right? Xhaka, obviously, the throwing of the shirt.
You've named 2 out of the last 20 captains that we've had over the last 6 years, though. I mean,
but why is it a curse?
Both ended horribly. Didn't Laurent Koscielny refuse to go on tour and then ripped off his Arsenal shirt?
Yeah, and to Michael tell you, like I asked Emery about that, you know, when we were in Los Angeles and stuff like that. But
and you know what Unai Emery said.
Kev, have you seen that clip?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Man, Unai. But it's more that it's been used as a bargaining chip. That's the thing that's wrong. There's no curse. It's just that Arsenal have handled their selection
every captain's left
responsibly.
Every captain's left. Every captain became injury prone. Every captain sat on the ground crying, and then came back.
So are you going back to like Gallus and Van Persie? And
I go back that far. Yeah, I mean Gallus, you know, sits on the ground crying. And then comes on Tom Canton's podcast 15 years later and says that Arteta doesn't have a plan. So, I mean, that's the captain's curse right there.
I just think it's players who, you know, I mean, Van Persie, not a curse really. I mean, he just went to Man United. Gallas definitely was a fool. Koscielny ended up being a fool, but while he was captain, he represented the club, I thought, you know, pretty well. I just think it's a narrative that's cheap and easy to go after. And hopefully whatever that narrative is ends with Odegaard. So, okay,
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that are recurring themes at Arsenal that I think are about to end. Inability to sell players, paying players to go away, dressing room cliques, not winning the big games when you need them. I mean, there are so many different kind of, you know, curses, if you want to call them that you can just systematically feel being exercised by the way this team's transformation is taking place. And
is it also fair to say, and Kev will, I think, back this one up, because we've had we've had phenomenal captains. I mean, you could go back to the 71 side, you know, you go to Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira. It's so hard to live up to expectations. It's the same. Like once you go invincible, that team, it's so hard to live up to that. You know, the George Graham era, it's hard to live up to that. And when you kind of fall as a club and as a group of players on the pitch, you know, all of the other things become so magnified and under the spotlight, even more so. You know,
I think it's not Owen. Sorry, I think when you actually look at the transition of what Arsenal's going through right now, it should really shine the magnifying glass should be on what's gone on in the past, because we're talking about captains who have been okay, but they're not. You can't put them on the same pedestal as the captains like you've just mentioned, So it's always going to be difficult. Yeah, Koscielny was a good captain for a bit, and Cesc Fabregas was a good captain. He just didn't have the people around him. We've seen captains come at Arsenal and be okay. But the captains we want are the captains who win. Let's be brutally honest. When you have you see those captains you've mentioned, so they've been captains who have won. They're winners. And I sincerely hope Odegaard is the next captain who, with this youngish side, getting experience now, getting that mental toughness with Zinchenko and Jesus as well. That's what made us fail at the end of last season. Now we've brought it in. This is going to be key to how we move forward, because you know what? Through the adversity of the end of last season, we should be a lot stronger mentally.
Is the role of a captain different now? Do you guys think? Kev, you were captain of Everton. You were captain on saving West Brom from relegation on that insane day. You were the first black captain ever at Everton Football Club. I mean, trailblazing. You get, I want tickets, I want this. You're the conduit between the manager. Some players just can't handle too much of that. Like Aubameyang really was a really good player, and I think giving him the captaincy is just not that leadership material. Do you think it's changed since when you were captain?
I don't think it's changed, because when you're the captain, you're the first. You're the standard bearer. You're the first person people are going to look at. You're the first person to be accountable. You're the first person people are going to turn to, and that's coaching staff and players and fans. By the way, this isn't just so you have to be ready for that responsibility. And at a club like Arsenal, it is mega hard. Let me tell you, it's hard at other clubs, but at Arsenal, such a big club, it's really hard. I'm blessed. I was lucky enough to watch Tony Adams be captain. Coming through the ranks, I was there with Tony Adams, and the way he dealt with it, and just the ticketing alone is murder. Let me tell you, that is murder alone.
And explain that, because there's a lot of people that might not understand that that's actually a thing. So, I mean, what does a captain of a football team have to do with ticketing?
Well, so let's say you've got a squad of 20 players, and you have season tickets, but this is your match day tickets. So your match day tickets, so every player usually gets 2 tickets a game, okay? So you got a squad of 20. So the captain's got probably 40 tickets. He might have 50, and he could then try and box off. But somebody like me, South London boy, I need 40 tickets, mate.
So you're going up to Tony Adams and asking for a larger allotment of tickets?
I say to Tony, hey, Skip, if you got any spares, put on my way. Because he knows all the boys are coming from South London. There's 40 lads a game coming from South London. But that's just me, Mike. You've got everyone else. You got Righty. Hey, Skip, I need 6. And Merce, I need 4. And this one needs that. Some don't take the tickets. So some will say, listen, I'm not using mine. Put them in the pot. But he's got to manage that.
Why, though? I mean,
what do you mean, why? He's captain.
I know. I think the thought process would be, which is a weird way of saying I didn't realize that, you'd think there'd be some intern or staffer that would be charged with having to deal with that.
Hey, listen, Mike, let me tell you this, and let me tell you this now, and I'll tell everybody watching.
Are you about to get mad at me again?
No. Tickets are sacred to the squad. It is a currency that many don't understand. Because you know what? If I don't need tickets away, I'm trading. It's a currency for me.
Right.
You can have my 2 tickets and I'll get them this. But that's the way it was. And then sometimes the captain will just come up to you and slip you another 6. So that's another 6 less. So, I don't know how much I've got to buy yet. You see, Mike. I don't know how much I've got to buy.
This just seems so 80s and 90s. This doesn't seem like 20.
Well, I thought it stretches further, Kev, because I heard that Hector Bellerin and Bird Leno were tasked with not only the ticketing but the players' families' travel to away games and stuff like that.
No.
If
their families are traveling to an away game on their own steam, then yeah, they would organize that. But if it's official, then obviously they'll meet up and travel with an official thing. But if like my friends and brothers and all that who are coming from South London, if they're making a trip away, there's like 16 carloads of them coming up. Because a lot of players, it's crazy, a lot of players don't need tickets away from home because a lot of people don't travel everywhere. My guys traveled all the time. So that's why they became such a part of.
It's hilarious.
I love that this peek behind the curtain, because you just assume with a global multi-billion dollar pound company that there would be like
it's all technically done. It ain't. Currency
and instead it's players and captains essentially trading contraband in prison.
It is. I'll give you 2 if you give me this 4 and da 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 da. It is. It probably
goes to things that aren't tickets. Like if I give you my tickets for this game, there's something else I need you to do. It's got nothing to do with tickets.
But you know something, Mike? Here's the great thing, Mike. What do you know what it does before a game? It takes your mind off the game. It takes your mind. So, you're running around, you're doing this, and you're sorting tickets out, and Tony's in the ticket office, he's getting extra tickets printed. It just, and then you get into the dressing room and all the tickets are all done. And then you see the switch flip. Game mode comes on. Everybody's starting to take their clothes, get the training gear on. And there's no talk of tickets anymore. Everything's about the game. But you need that just to, that little bit of running around in the marble halls, and I'll meet you at the front door and you put your head out and you hand somebody the ticket. It's great, honestly. It was brilliant.
Idle hands and all that.
It was brilliant. Honestly, brilliant.
See,
speaking of brilliant, Owen,
go ahead.
We're going to bring in a fifth. Speaking of brilliant, speaking of lovely, speaking of a guy that you guys know very well, Aston is back. The man is here.
He's superstar.
He's hopping on with 2 of his biggest fans, and then also Owen and me.
How's everyone doing today? You guys doing well?
Oh, hold on. No, that's not what we want. Hold on.
Not very good anymore.
All good, Aston. Well, we're
doing
good.
Good.
You. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I'm really pumped after that game over the weekend. I can't wait till Friday.
Yeah. Did you hear any of the discussion that we just had, by the way?
Not at all. Not at all.
You'll have to go back and watch it. I just learned something that apparently I'm the only one who didn't know this, but that the captains of a football club are basically assigned with incredible administrative duties.
Incredible power.
And that Hector Bellerin apparently is on Expedia 12 hours a day taking care of all of his teammates' travel reservations. But
is that true?
Absolutely.
That's what we're learning.
I believe it.
I was just gonna, just before you come on, Aston, I was gonna ask a question of Sophie, but you could potentially weigh in on this one as well. And it was, Sophie, during the preseason tour, Matt Turner obviously made his entrance into the Arsenal squad. I think it'd be fair to say that there's still a lot of skeptics now. You're someone that I know has sort of championed the idea of Matt Turner, and as someone that watches a lot of MLS, you'll probably know more about him as a player than the majority. What would you say in defense of Matt Turner to the doubters at this stage?
It's a great question, and I just
And a great person to ask it to.
I just remind people about last summer's transfer window. I mean, on our show, we had listeners where the sky was falling. It's like Ramsdale relegated twice. Tomiyasu, who he? Ben White, are you serious? Despite the fact that he'd helped Leeds to promotion and was really good at Brighton as well. So Matt Turner, what I don't like, and I say this with respect, and I've said this on other shows, is that there seems to be a prejudice towards American players or coaches. Same when Jesse March was introduced at Leeds. You know, people need to kind of dig deeper to learn more about him. They just made an assumption that, you know, he's American and he doesn't really know anything about football, which is not true at all. You know, he's done his apprenticeship not only here, but, you know, in Europe as well. And you could argue it was a good decision because he infused a new energy at Leeds and he helped save them from relegation. With regards to Matt Turner, he's been coached by the GOAT here in the United States, Bruce Arena, who's considered to be the Sir Alex Ferguson of the sport here. He's played at the highest level for his country. Potentially, if Zach Steffen's loan deal doesn't go well at Middlesbrough, regardless of that, I believe Matt Turner will be the starting goalkeeper for the United States at the World Cup. It would be crazy if Ramsdale's the starting goalkeeper for England, although I don't think he will be.
You know, I asked him about that, and just he was like, you could tell he had thought about it, but like his eyes started rolling back, and he was like, "You just to even think about that possibly being the case, going head to head the day after Thanksgiving, would be a dream come true. It would be so good for Arsenal. It would be, you know, it'd be amazing."
I mean, most pundits here, Eoin, believe that he's been the better goalkeeper than Zach Steffen, even though he was at City. He's a really good shot stopper. He needs to definitely keep working with regards to his distribution with his feet. But I don't know if you saw in preseason, his distribution with his arm is phenomenal. It's actually better than his distribution with his feet. And you can't kill some guy this is his dream move. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, everyone comes in and they're a fan. Well, I think we've seen evidence that Matt Turner truly has been an Arsenal fan his entire life, as has Zinchenko. He's got a great attitude. He's not coming to just play a bit part. He really wants to have a career and be successful. And I think maybe he'll play in the League Cup. But don't poo-poo it yet. Look, Leno is a good goalkeeper, but I think that some of their attributes are similar in the sense that people thought Leno's distribution with his feet wasn't great, but he was a really good shot stopper, good in the air, right? And I think those are the nuances. Some people think Leno's still better than Ramsdale and that he should be the starter. I think Ramsdale's kind of proven himself at this point. So just give him a chance is what I say. And don't think that he's just coming from some 2-bit league without having played really at a high level. The Gold Cup here is big. People in the UK may not know about it, but it's our version here in the United States of the Euros. And the US won that. They also won the Leagues Cup against Mexico, and that rivalry is intense. It's like England v Germany. It's also a border rivalry, which makes it even bigger as well. So I'm not saying he's going to be great, but all I'm saying is please give him a chance. And he's a backup goalkeeper, remember. And, will he get to play big games? Hopefully Ramsdale stays fit. But if he's going to come into the side in the League Cup and games like that, I think he'll do quite well.
And if anything, we've probably traded in. I mean, I think the goal here would be that we've traded in Leno for a guy who has every possibility of being as good as Leno, but is much younger.
I don't know, Mike, and I'm sorry to jump in, but the one thing I'll say is that people have this unreal expectation of how good your number two can be. Players with the ability, such as Bird Leno, don't sit and bench warm for seasons. They just don't do that. You either have an elder statesman of a goalkeeper or a young up and comer. You don't have two keepers in their prime willing to sit and waste their career.
No, and Matt Turner isn't here to sit on the bench either. I mean, he may end up doing that, but he again said he was the player that they sent out to us media after the Baltimore game, and he said and did all the right things. He's like, I know Aaron's a great keeper, but I'm not here to just be a backup. I'm here to push him for the number one position, which is exactly what Aaron Ramsdale said when he came in to kind
compete with Leno.
Compete with Leno. So,
you know what it is? You know what it is too, real quick. Sorry, Aston. I just want to add this. We have players who actually want to be at the club. Kev talks about this all the time on our show. Who really wants to be there? That's half the battle. That's been half the battle for the Arsenal, is players that are there, disengaged, just really want to take a paycheck, don't really care. And I think finally we have players who want to be there, and he's one.
And to that exact point, to what Ian's saying, combining the two statements, you don't normally get a player, a number 2 goalkeeper, that is going to be satisfied with staying that close unless you get the weird situation where, hey, he does want to play for the club. That's why he's willing to try to fight for it. You also have to remember that he's got a lot of his career left. This isn't, even if you want to be cynical about it, think of, he's going to want to make the most out of this opportunity because he's getting a big European move to a club the size of Arsenal. That does wonders for his career. So of course he's going to want to give it his all because maybe down the line there will be a club that will want to take him on as a number 1. And to your point, like when was the last time we saw 2 great goalkeepers at one club? Was it like Claudio Bravo and Ter Stegen together? Like I mean. It never sticks. You know what I mean?
Fabianski and Szczesny. I mean, you know.
Fabianski.
Look at it this way. Who's Liverpool's number 2? It's either Adrian or Kevin Gallagher.
Adrian. Yeah. What is it going to be, Adrian?
Kevin Gallagher, I would argue, is probably the better out of the 2 of them. But yeah, still, it's a huge drop off, you know. But Kev, as Sophie and Aston mentioned.
Owen, I'm sorry. Are you moving on to a new topic because I want to interject something, or is this more about Matt Turner?
No, sort of. I'm a professional flag wearer, so it can be both. But you like.
One of the things about coordinating a 27-hour Pod-A-Thon is having some level
fucking up your co-host's flow.
No. Well, yeah. That and trying to keep a schedule going. We have reached the top of the hour. It's 11 p.m. We are now in hour 4, and we have a prize draw to do. So I want to make sure that we do this, and then Owen, if you have any or Ian, as Aston likes to call you, if you have any way of remembering what your question is after this, then I'll throw it back to you. This is one of the big ones. We have a Kevin Campbell signed retro shirt, and Kevin will write something. Oh, Owen's left. He will write something on there for you if you request it, assuming it is inspirational and has something to do with a Dickie bow. But we're going to draw for this winner. Everyone who has donated so far, thank you for the new ones coming in from Daniel Robert, from Jalal Haji again, from Arnie Arneson from Iceland, Vincent Eagle, Ramon Mikel. We are now at a total of 1,600 donated for this podcast alone. And there's a lot more to win. So if you have not donated yet, please go to goonersvcancer.com, donate online, and you'll be entered in every single prize draw thereafter. The bell is not for sale, but I actually put the bell up in an auction in the very first Gooners versus Cancer year, and nobody bid on it. I think that might be different now. The bell has gotten more famous than I have, but all right, so here we go. It is a random drawing.
Wait, Kevin, if I win, will you put on it proud of you, Aston? You're the son I always wanted.
Oh, we should appreciate that. That, and you have to donate during the show in order to be in for this. So, so the drawing for the Kevin Campbell signed shirt. And remember, if you've won a shirt already, you can't win a second shirt until the final. If you've won a Ruth Beck art print, you can't win a second Ruth Beck art print. But the winner, Alex Zobrak. Alex, congratulations. Alex has won a retro Arsenal shirt signed by Super Kevin Campbell. That is a top prize. So Alex Zobrak has won. Owen, back to you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Sorry. Don't worry about it. I forgot it. Nah, I'm just messing. No, what I was going to say before I was extremely rudely interrupted. Kev, were talking about Matt Turner there, and Mike had mentioned that he had an interview with him, and something that I collected from the bits and pieces of media that he did throughout that tour was he's just a good dude. He just seems like a really nice guy. Not only that, you look at Gabriel, Zinchenko, Fabio Vieira, all these new signings coming in. They're just all really solid characters, good guys who are down to put the work in, seemingly. Do you think that this is obviously a massive step? You know, the one I look back to is Nicola Pepe. And whilst I have no ill feeling towards Nicola Pepe whatsoever, I was really surprised at the fact that they made a £70 million investment without actually ever meeting the player in person, or talking to him in person before that deal was done. Do you like this avenue, the player that the club's going down now, where it's very character based as to what type of people they're letting come into their dressing room?
Yeah, I think they would have met Nicola Pepe, but it's a different regime. That was a different regime when Nicola Pepe was bought.
Mm-hmm.
Under Mikel Arteta, character means a lot. Being able to be part of a group and get along is very important. That's the basis of any good team. If you've done anything in your life with a group of guys or with a group, I can guarantee you get on. Because if you don't get on, you ain't gonna push. You're not gonna go beyond the limits. And you know, when it comes to tough times where you're suffering, in order to get through, you need to be able to rely on each other. And that's what the character does. All good guys, you see them all get along, all happy. Jesus, this looks like they've been at the club for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that is in them is the desire to win, that hunger. You need that fire inside you. Because we've said it many times on the Highbury squad. I think we've discussed it with you and Mike on here before. If the manager has to be relied upon to get the players motivated, something's wrong. Trust me, something's wrong. Yeah, he has to say his piece.
What's it like, Kev, when you have a tube in the dressing room, when you have someone who's maybe a bad attitude, who someone isn't overly likable, or someone that's a really bad trainer and doesn't pull their weight? What's that like as a player?
Or you ask for too many tickets from the captain.
It's funny because with the regimes, you don't have those people in. Those people aren't allowed to come in. You don't sign bad eggs. The bad eggs are at the club already. So, like Mikel Arteta, there's players who love the bad eggs. Oh, we love this one, we love that one, but they're bad eggs. They're bad in the dressing room. So what have you got to do? You've got to get them out. And sometimes you have to bide your time to get them out because they're big players and they carry a lot of weight in the dressing room. And they saw off Unai Emery, who's a very good manager. We know he's a good manager. But they saw him off, having that attitude, having that power. It's not good. The key is having a motivated group who want to go in one direction, and that is to the top. That's what you need.
If I could just jump in there, I kind of wanted to add there that I do think that part of it is a management style from Mikel Arteta. He seems to have this very let the player hang himself with his own rope kind of approach. And I think that goes into what you're saying. Like, you can't just go in and maybe Aubameyang doesn't have the right attitude and just snap him up and get him out. But by giving him the opportunity, letting him like, hey, listen, are you going to show up on time? Are you going to make these? Well, showing that those behaviors led to poor results on the pitch, I think really opened the eyes of a lot of players. And I think that actually is a credit to like the style of Arteta. You know, he can't just always just like, you know, jettison the dead wood as it were. And I do think that what Kevin's saying is right. I don't think bad eggs ever start off as bad eggs. Ozil was doing wonderfully under Wenger for a while, right? It was only after a while when they can dig their roots into the club and really set up power structures that they are able to kind of act in these aberrant ways. And that has to do with long-term management, not like short-term management. You know what I mean?
I think that happens in the workplace. I mean, I've worked you can be on a movie set, and you know most people are going to be nice.
I'm actually not allowed to be.
But there's always going to be one a-hole. There always is, no matter what.
Get a group of 100 people, I guarantee you at least 5 to 10 of them are a-holes. Like, that's just how the world works. It doesn't matter what the group of people is.
But
there's a reason we all spend so much time we all spend so much time on the internet with random people. And it's because most people you meet in life are dicks. That's the thing. It's very hard to get a group together like that, but we're seemingly doing it, I think. And when you look around, so like people like I've mentioned before, Zinchenko, captain of his national team, known for his attitude and his work rate. I mean, look at the way he handled himself throughout the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The way he represented the Ukrainians was absolutely brilliant. Martin Odegaard as well. When you're looking at some of the players, I mean, I think is he the youngest person to hold both international captaincy and club captaincy since the early 1900s. We're really building a group of strong characters here, I think.
And
he did it in 18 months too.
And what was our weakest link for years? You know, Kev and I talk about this a lot, is mental impotence.
Yeah.
And, you know, now look at what Zinchenko's gone through character-wise. What then he walks into a dressing room, he immediately has respect from everybody. You know, that's the difference. Odegaard, you know, the most sought-after player in the world, Haaland, is captained by Odegaard at international level. Gabriel Jesus played under Pep Guardiola, played alongside the De Bruynes of the world and the Sterlings and the Mahrez and whatever. He comes into that team immediately. People respect that, you know, and I think that's what we've lacked. How can you compare Mustafi and Kolasinac and Ozil even? And I appreciate Ozil's achievements, but they were a very long time ago compared to what this crop of players is. And Saka, for his youth and his young age, coming through Hale End, has helped before any of these guys got here. He really saved what's the word and how can you describe it? He really
saved our souls. He saved our spirit.
Culture.
And he did. And he has, at such a young age, been such a huge part of that culture evolution. We've had to reinvent our DNA and our profile. And that young man, Kev always said last season, stop putting the world on his shoulders. I just want him to play football. And this is why we just did the prediction show. And, you know, Harry and Tom and Lee and Dan and Kevin, and we were all saying, maybe this is going to be the best season we've seen from Saka because he doesn't have the weight of the world on his shoulders. There are other players who are here now to carry that burden and help him. But my goodness, what a savior he has been, right? You know, for the last 2 seasons.
And you mentioned predictions. I do want to veer a little bit off before we come back on track, and we have some user questions that we want to get to as well. So yeah, and Owen, if you need to hop off for a second, please do. You've got family duties and so
he's looking tanned. He's looking refreshed. I like the beard has always been like a hit, but you've got a glow about you, babe.
Nothing refreshing. It must be the light. I'm absolutely disgusting. It's good light.
So you said you've just finished doing your prediction show.
Mm-hmm.
What we're trying to get from everybody that comes on this podcast is a prediction of the top 4, the bottom 3, and some kind of off the wall prediction that you think will come true that might surprise people. So, you know, we're not done with you quite yet, but we want to make sure to get these in before you have to go. So Kev, your top 4 and let us know if it's the same one you picked on your podcast or
same.
if you're
diversifying. It's got to be the same.
You're not going to diversify across multiple platforms.
I don't remember what I said.
No need.
These are my notes, Kev. These are my notes.
Bro, City to win it. Liverpool second. Arsenal third. Spurs fourth. That's what I've put.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my top 4.
That is exactly matching that of Lee Dixon. And your bottom 3 in any particular order. As you know,
3 was Bournemouth, Fulham, and Brentford.
Bournemouth, Fulham, and Brentford. Okay. Interesting. All right.
Actually, a couple people chose Brentford, Mike, on the show. I was surprised.
Second season.
Yeah, second season, sophomore syndrome.
Surprised about that a little bit, but hold on just a second because there's someone else that wants to come in here who I am more than happy to have come in here. So hold on just a second. The prediction, kind of an off-the-wall prediction, something that might not seem to make a lot of sense at the moment, but you think might come true, Kev. It doesn't have to just be about Arsenal.
No, it's not. No, it doesn't. Not Arsenal. It's I think Leicester are going to really struggle this season. There you go.
Like bottom 5, you think?
I don't know about bottom 5, but I think you've got to remember the last few seasons alone, they've been up there challenging us apart from last season. I suppose they kind of fell off a little bit, but I think they're going to struggle this season. Really have a tough bottom half.
So Sophie knows what I think of Brendan Rodgers. And it
What
will
is
not
that feedback? What's happening?
Aston, your mic is like so sensitive.
We're going to need to get Aston a mic for the new season.
It takes after you. It's very, very sensitive.
Is there an echo? Because you're in my headphones right now.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo.
You should take your headphones off and see what that sounds like. By the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
In the meantime, I'm going to mute him real quick. All right, so Leicester will struggle. I tend to agree with that. I think Brendan Rodgers is on the he's kind of run his course there just as he did at Liverpool, and I'm not a big fan. So, Sophie, your top 4.
My top 4 was Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal. I can't say the third. I won't say it out loud. I won't say the name out loud.
So you've got that lot winning.
I don't know why either. I just why
that's
is
where we differ.
Why is everyone lauding them? But I feel like I'm just jumping on the like.
Well, you've been kind of a Conte,
I know because I believe in him. He's an amazing manager. So yeah. But sometimes the amazing manager in the less than amazing environment sometimes can go very wrong. I mean, my big prediction, by the way, and is that Conte will not finish the season coaching Spurs. Whose decision it will be, I'm assuming it'll be his, but I do not think that that's going to happen. Was that for saying that or for? No, Arnie in chat wants to give me a yellow.
Oh,
saying, yeah. Harry Symeou got the first yellow card of the Highbury squad season, by the way.
Really?
Because he predicted, and he was scolded for it, but in a very endearing and funny way, that Tottenham would win the League Cup, and everyone nearly threw up and stuff like that. So,
that's the least offensive thing I could think of someone saying about Tottenham.
No, but winning a trophy is still
that's pretty gross.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bottom 3 for you, Soph?
I had Fulham, Bournemouth, and Leeds.
That is. Oh no, I didn't. I don't want to say my bottom 3 in current company.
Oi. Don't piss about. Oi, don't mess me about, Mike. I'm telling you.
Use the P word. God, Super Kev.
Come on, don't pee me about. Come on, let's hear it.
It's West Brom. It's West Brom. No, I'm just kidding.
Samurai sword.
All right,
so
we
see, just before you crack on, Mike, I'm gonna have to jump off, but I'm only doing this because I know you've got very capable hands in the back room that's gonna take over my position.
I do. I have 4 hands in the background, actually.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry that we're ships in the night here, my replacement, because I love this dude, but I'm not gonna get the same just yet. But guys, thanks for having me on.
Take care, Owen. Cheers, mate.
I hope you just have a good time, but I'll see you tomorrow, Mike, 12 o'clock.
Owen, love you, mate. Take care, bud.
Love you.
Bye.
God, it is so hot here. I'm sweating like swine. My hair's going curly. Go.
Does no one think that Everton's going to go down? Am I the only one?
Shh, you can't say that out loud.
You can't say that with Kevin here.
Aston.
You want Kevin
to sign your shirt and say you're the son he never had? And then you say that?
He's not getting anything now, is he? He's not getting anything.
I just made a very. I tried to be political about it, and then you just came right out and said
You
it.
don't have to be. It's your choice. It's your choice.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
Fenerbahce and
No,
I'm getting a lot of flack.
They're in the
They're
Champions League.
champions, mate. They're
Champions,
champions.
babe.
Don't even worry about that.
Speaking of champions.
Hey,
Jake, there's my man. Shaking Jake, how you doing?
He just doesn't even care about the hair anymore. Like he just knows he's got it, and it doesn't matter in what arrangement it is. This is the boy, man. This is
Jake. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing very well. How is everyone doing out here?
Everyone's good, man.
I'm sweating and my hair's really going off, Jake. But other than that, it's fine.
Oh, me too.
How are you?
I loved Sophie when I was playing the video earlier of Odegaard. You like took the opportunity to do some crazy thing with your
You
hair.
don't tell everyone that I did that when you played the video. You
and we're gonna bring in a 6 just because this is the Gooner family that I love.
I love the surprise. It's like this is your life, right, Kev? Do you remember?
Yeah, of course I remember. Eamon Andrews.
Welcome back to the Gooners Podcast, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. How are you, Ryan?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Now this is a panel. This is how you spend the 4th hour of a 27-hour Pod-A-Thon. Ryan, it's great to see you again, my friend. Thanks for hopping on.
No worries.
And always nice. Now, Jake, you have some friends coming over tonight, do you not?
I do. Yeah.
What?
I do.
Has that started yet? We have this big get together at my house tonight, and I'm locked in the one room where I can't hear anything.
Well, we might actually be up as long as you are.
No, well, you're not gonna be up as long as I am. I wouldn't think.
He's so cute. Your hair is so charismatic. I love it. It's kind of like what my hair looks like.
My mom loves it like this, but it's
no, Jake, she was talking to Ryan.
Well, listen, I mean, when you have the dad that Ryan had, that just comes with the turf, babe. That just comes with the turf.
Yeah. See, I brought in 2 guys with incredible dads.
Hold on a second.
I'm just saying. So, all right. So let's Ryan, how you been since the last time I saw you? I think it was in the middle of the season.
I think the last time
was it when I was over with Jake? Or I think you and Monique made it out that night late. And,
we lost, right? We lost. I think we lost to
yeah,
Brighton.
that was the Brighton game, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was not in a position to really remember too much about that.
Yeah.
But always, there's no one I love hanging out with at the Tollington after a game, win, lose, or draw, than Ryan. And when your sister's there, it's a pleasure. And but how you been? How you feeling about the season coming up?
Yeah, feeling good. Being good. Feeling good about the season. You know, I've been a big Arteta fan and what he's building for a long time now. Yeah, it was disappointing that we didn't get over the line at the end of last season, and yeah, I think we have to, you know, use that as a real push and motivator to do it next time. But I think what we've done over the last couple months makes me very excited for the new campaign.
And Jake, obviously we talk about it, but let the world know how you're feeling about this season. I mean, how many trophies are we winning?
Can you repeat that? You lagged.
How many trophies are we winning this season?
Oh, we're winning the quadruple easily. But
and what is does that include the Baltimore Cup and the Florida Cup?
I mean, no. If that's what it includes as well, then we'll be winning the what have you been saying, the sextuple?
Not allowed to say that around me.
But I mean, I'm always excited at the beginning of a season just because it's our team and support through everything. But this season it does feel different, and I know that everyone probably feels the same way. But I've never been so excited to see a player play as I am for Gabriel Jesus, honestly, because the signing that we've made from City. I cannot believe they let him go. First of all, he's such a good player, but I mean, he has so much potential for us, and I'm just hoping that him amongst the other signings that we have, and hopefully no injuries, I think we'll have a great season. I can't wait.
Now, we'll be watching games a little differently this season. I mean, ever since 2006 when we started watching games together, you little 3-year-old sitting on my lap in a diaper, which is kind of ironic considering that I'm the one wearing the diaper now.
Oh my God, don't.
Well, I'm doing a 27-hour podcast. What do you?
We almost made it a whole podcast without Mike mentioning himself in a diaper.
It's not a medical condition. It's a matter of convenience. Anyway, I've killed Sophie.
It's a fetish, man. It's a fetish, Soph. It's a fetish.
Yeah, we don't kink shame around here. Okay, we don't kink shame.
All right. Anyway, we've watched these games together for years and years and years, and starting in about 3 weeks, you're going to be off at uni, going to school. Yeah. You got a schedule. I can't believe this kid is leaving me, but you're going to be watching every game. I mean, are you going to make it a point? One of your professors we know is a Gooner.
Yep. So, I mean, obviously, I'm going to get a little gang of Gooners together, and I'm going to find my place, and I'm going to try to watch as many games as I can every weekend. And midweek as well.
Have I done a job or have I done a job?
One thing I've done right, Jake. Shake and Jake, that's important to find where you're going to watch the games. That's key. Mm-hmm. Right.
You have to start the ritual because, like, if you don't hit the ritual right, we'll lose. So you got to find it early.
The bartender, make sure that he'll be playing every game.
It's gonna be all of a sudden you're befriending bartenders. I couldn't be more proud of this guy. I don't know. You're gonna see on the podcast in a few weeks. You're gonna see. Well, in a few weeks he's going, and then I'm going straight to London. So when I get back from London, you're gonna see a guy hit rock bottom in May because it's gonna hit me that he's gone. But anyway, enough about that.
Someone in chat just called me a cougar. Is that? What is happening here? Nappies, cougars.
We started with the diaper talk, and then everybody started naming their fetishes. So
yeah. This could get out of hand, and we want Kevin to not like rush off.
I have actually a question for
Kevin,
everybody.
I'd be like out.
Listen, I'm nearly out anyway, so don't worry about that. I haven't got long left.
I wanted to put everybody on the spot since we're already making predictions, and which is ridiculous because there's still like 2 months of transfer window left, or 1 month left. But if we're making predictions, I want to know who's the top scorer for Arsenal and who's the top scorer in the league.
Jesus for Arsenal, Haaland in the league, I say.
Kev or Ryan?
Yeah, I'll go for Jesus for us. That's the easy one. League, I'll stick with Salah again.
Really? Even with he's got a lot of competition for goals now.
He has, but he doesn't look like fading. Well, I say that he wasn't great at the end of. I just whenever I see him play, he always takes so many shots. It just feels like he's going to be around there as well. So I'll go with him.
All right, Jake, what do you think, Jake?
I definitely think Jesus as well for Arsenal. And I've got some friends that think that Nunez could score more than Haaland this season, but it's so hard. I think it'll be so close. I honestly think that those three will be the top three. I don't know if Salah gets that many, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I would probably say Haaland without any injuries.
Yeah, Nunez was one of my picks. And Sophie, I still need to get your kind of outlandish prediction. But
why do you think it's going to be outlandish?
Well, no, not on this. We did the top 4, bottom 3, and an outlandish prediction. I didn't mean that your answer to this question was going to be outlandish. We need you to come up with something that people would not think would happen that you think will happen this year.
Like
but
prediction.
Mine was going to be that Nunez was going to be outscored by like Diogo Jota I just think that Nunez was the biggest potential flop of the season. But he looked pretty good yesterday in what I saw from him in the Charity Shield. So I may have to take that back. He looks fit and ready to fire. So if your outlandish predictions.
I think, well, look, Nunez 4 weeks ago was a bust, according to everybody. And then now Haaland, if you're going to go with the correct pronunciation, I believe, is a loser because he missed an open goal. It's just nonsense. Kev will tell you, stop the madness. I mean, they're both really good footballers. They're probably going to contribute greatly to their teams. But I'm going to go with some tried and tested for this season. Jesus will be our top scorer, and I think he'll get a lot of goals, and he's going to be so exciting. And I have a horrible feeling rhymes with, I just say it's Son. I think Son will do it again. And I think I was going to go with a rhymes with, but I have James Johnston's in the house. Do you want to I'll do this for Kev. Kev's already heard it once and I want to know what James, I played it on the show. So I've already broken the embargo, but here it goes. Are you ready? What is Jesus' song going to be? Ryan? Your dad had some great songs. Super Kevin Campbell is still one of the greatest in my opinion. Here is an audition for what Jesus' song will be. You ready? An exclusive for the Gooners v Cancer Pod-A-Thon. Man.
Are we gonna get a copyright strike for this?
No, not at all. Hold on.
Oh, Mick Arteta called him, said now's your time to shine, 'cause I'm collecting gabbies and gonna make you mine. They said he walks on water, then turns it into wine. Oh, I believe in Jesus, the Arsenal number 9. Oh.
Any song with water is going to be great for me. Any song with water or batter is right up my alley.
Kev will tell you one of the greatest commercials ever in the 80s. Kev, the water in Majorca
don't taste like what it oughta.
Go on, Super Kev.
There you go.
I'm still partial to Accrington Stanley. Bloody. Exactly. Oh, good. I think
it's not in that accent.
Nice.
Oh,
I like it. I think it's a good. It's a good shout. Yeah.
Good song.
So Sophie, we do need to get just a general prediction from you that you think is a little unusual for football in general. Something that'll happen this year that people might not think would happen. So. And then we're going to go to Ryan for your top 4, your bottom 3. We're just jumping all over the place right here, but that's how we do it.
You mean like a bold prediction or something like that?
Yeah, a bold prediction that people would.
Oh, I've got a bold prediction for you.
Go on, Aston. You go first then.
I think my outlandish prediction is Cristiano Ronaldo walks off the field at some point this season.
During a game, just walks off without being.
He gets so mad that he just subs himself off.
Will he be there at the beginning of the season, you guys think?
What team could take him on? I mean, that's a complicated.
I don't know. It's just like we saw what happened in the game against Vallecano. Was it yesterday, right?
The thing is, no one can afford him. Literally, no one can afford his wages right now.
I would like Kev's take on this because personally, he is in a cage right now in his house, going like this. No one's interested and everyone's doubting him. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time. Super Kev. People talk about, well, you can't play him because he can't track back. He doesn't put on the press. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Without him, United would have been in shambles last season, despite the fact that some people think that maybe with him, they weren't able to allow the other players to shine. Kev, are people going crazy? Is this guy still not able to offer some team something? Am I?
But it comes with a monetary problem to try and acquire him. That's the problem.
And a chemistry problem.
Well, it's not even a chemistry problem, Mike, because listen, there's going to be many teams who are going to need somebody who can stick the ball away. That's going to be key for many a team. But you've got to be able to afford him. So I don't. Do you know what? I don't see Premier teams coming in for Ronaldo. I don't see any. I think he's going to probably have to go somewhere else. That's what I see.
Somewhere else, like here, or
might be America, might be Middle East. These people can afford him like that, no problem. So, but to pick up that paycheck is huge.
Kev, if you were him and you wanted another shot at Champions League, would you forfeit the wages and say, just pay me 50 grand a week? I just want to win another Champions League.
To go to another team to do it.
Yeah.
But you say win another Champions League. It's not that easy.
No, of course not. But at least put me in the room to be able to maybe get there. Would you do it?
But it's not your choice. It's not your shout. You can't do that. It's the club who has to do that. So no player's going to do that because you could say you'd do it, but the club ain't going to let you just go like that. And that's the problem. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, because isn't it?
He's contracted to Manchester United. So in theory, if Manchester United turn around and say, do you know what? We'll just let you go, Ronaldo. We'll let you go. And he goes somewhere else and smashes it. What do you reckon the Man United faithful gonna go? They're gonna go crazy. So it's a very difficult one.
Yeah, but would they rather pay 30 million pounds to be unhappy though?
But I think that you're assessing it off because you have to also remember the value that Ronaldo brings to any club. The contracts that he has outside of just with Manchester United, his kit deals, his boots deals that are all run through, that all produce revenue for United. You're asking United to just go bye.
Yeah,
just deal with that.
Listen, a Ronaldo, of course, the narrative is he wants to have a go at the Champions League. But realistically, how many Champions League clubs could afford him?
I mean, Chelsea should be. They don't have a goal scorer, Kev. They don't.
Yeah, but if you're Manchester United, do you sell Ronaldo to Chelsea? You don't.
No, especially, I mean, City sold Sterling to Chelsea.
Yeah, but they got Haaland. They're not worried. You know, they're not worried. They Manchester United, who struggled last season without. If Ronaldo weren't there, Manchester United would have been mid-table.
Right.
What sweet poetic justice would it be if Chelsea bought Ronaldo after United bought Van Persie from us? Just delicious.
I mean, I don't care, to be honest with you, because it doesn't do anything for us. But
it's not happening, Aston. Manchester United don't need the money.
True.
That's the other thing. They don't need the money. They got Ronaldo. I think Ten Hag's going to try and see it out. So try and figure it out and get him in and say, look, play with us.
You can help me win Europa League.
Play with us.
I
want you in the team.
It's so hard to see these kinds of moves actually coming together that I would not expect this one to happen before the end of the transfer window, but you never know. Here's what we're going to do next. We're gonna cycle off Soph and Kev. You guys have been generous in spending more than an hour.
I have something though. Before.
Okay.
Do you want to say something first before we go?
I just want to say thank you to both of you guys. Kev, I know it's getting late and you've got to be up at 3 a.m. to tweet everyone a happy good morning.
You can let Kev. I'll wait if you want, but okay. I have something for you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
If Kev needs to any last words you want to get out there and share? Any inspirational things to the fan base that you'd like to get out there?
Not inspirational, really. Just it's great that everybody comes on and joins your mic. Everybody, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, whether it's the whole shooting match, it's always a great cause to come and join everybody on there. And at the Highbury squad, we say squaddies, and we call everybody squaddies because we love everybody. Look after yourself, take care, and I will see you maybe tomorrow. You never know. I might pop in tomorrow, Mike.
Well, you are welcome anytime, any hour. You just let me know, and you've got the link. And by the way, one quick thing before you go. In the first hour with Lee Dixon, someone had asked a question, of Lee, like, why is it that very few sons of George Graham era players actually have made it at the top or near the top level of football. And the ones that were really kind of given the most, the highest profile in that category were your son Tyrese and probably Bradley Wright Phillips and Sean Wright Phillips. So,
yeah.
I mean, it is rather amazing when
and now Sean's son.
Sean's son, yeah.
DiMaggio, plays at Stoke with my son, so
that's the greatest name. But yeah, I mean,
you know what? It's always hard because the offspring, Ryan will tell you, you're always compared to your dad. Always.
Yeah.
You always get compared to your dad.
Yeah, it's really difficult to. It's so difficult to become a professional footballer. Like goes without saying. So just because your dad's played, it doesn't mean you might have a slight advantage in something. Probably the most advantage I said. Probably you start a bit younger than maybe others would. But there's so much on a journey to becoming a footballer, and of course the pressure as well. Like,
the name.
Your son having Campbell probably was okay because loads of people in England have the last name Campbell, right? But in England, hardly anyone is called Rocastle. So
it's on you, isn't it? Yeah, it's on you.
It's a different kind of pressure, I think.
Yeah, Jake gets that as well because I mean, there's not a ton of podcasting Feinbergs, but
Can I just say that listening to Ryan, on our show, we do a lot of nostalgia stuff. And we take fans, a trip down memory lane, we call it. And players come on and do an inside the dressing room with Super Kev. But some of our favorite moments are when we go off kilter and just talk. And Kev tells us stories about that time and that era with your dad. And, it comes with a lot, to know that your dad was so beloved and that he's revered and he's got such an important legacy in our club's history. And to hear Kev talk about, their camaraderie, their friendships, not only, beyond and behind the white lines, it really is so special. And so to see you on these shows and talking, I think it's really important that these legacies and these stories just keep going, for as long as we possibly can.
Oh, thank you, Sophie. So it's very kind of you to say.
Well said. And Ryan's been an amazing friend of ours. I mean, when I first met him, it was Ryan Rocastle. Now it's just Ryan because we've moved beyond that into like an actual friendship that started with one thing and has moved on to others. So it's but from an Arsenal perspective, I agree with you 1,000%. It's important to keep those things going. Jill Armstrong does an amazing job of that as well, as you know. And so if there is one thing keeping in that whole spirit that I do want to talk with you about, but Kev, I know you got to run. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
No problem, Ryan, Shaken, Jake, Aston, Sophie, love you, Magic
love
Mike,
love you, Super Kev.
Keep doing a great job, Mike.
Legend.
All the very best. Take care, everyone.
At ease, Super Kev. At ease.
At ease.
At ease. Love Super Kev.
He's so cool. He's like the coolest guy ever.
Oh, I remember now you're a bigwig, Aston. But the first time you came on a podcast when Kevin was on or had a message for you, your face was priceless.
Well, it's because to be so woven into the fabric of the club and to give us such unfettered access, such transparent access, he has a warmth and to walk so warm and so kind all the time. He's an incredible spirit and somebody that I think just wears the colors incredibly well and someone to look up to as a role model within our community. I think at least.
Well, and I've asked him time and time again if I could talk to the Arsenal and see about him becoming like global ambassador, because he would be the right the final, not final, but probably one of the biggest links between the club and the fan base, and doesn't seem interested in it. But
I think he does it anyway, Mike.
He's doing it, but without the kind of the endorsement and the magnification of the club. So he's doing it in his personal life, and that's probably where he's most comfortable doing it. So
he talks like some of his stories about, he grew up a South London boy and he was a fan from like birth. And to hear his stories about, the guys back then, Ryan's dad and Pops and, the way he talks about them, like being driven, having to get to South London, to North London, just to be able to kind of, get in the mix, or from a young age, the sacrifices also parents make in order for, these guys to have gotten to that point. I mean, it's really, really cool. I mean, I know that there are stories from a lot of clubs about these types of journeys, but it's real, and they had a connection on a completely different level. When you see the four of them in pictures together, when it's Kev and Rocky and and Pops and all those guys, holding the league title, and Righty and all, and it's just amazing. And to have him talk and share those stories with us, I think that's part of what football is. Players come and go. Some players just stick, and us fans, like the memories, the nostalgia. There are parts of, I believe, fans, and this is why what you're doing, Mike, is a legacy thing. Like this charity, what you're doing, it's beyond football, because it's a community, and Arsenal and being part of this amazing club is developing friendships and from around the world, like people that you wouldn't even think. And to be on that journey, it's really quite an amazing thing. And I think that's the part of football that is special. I can look back on my life, two things that I can try and help trigger my memory. Now I'm an old woman, right? And a cougar, apparently.
We got Charlie saying, well said, cougar, though.
Damn. Is football helps me remember, oh, right. 1995. I remember the season. My cousin was getting married, right? Or Arsenal were doing X. It helps me remember things. It's like the film industry days. Oh, I remember I worked on Titanic in '99, and then I worked on whatever. These occasions, these experiences help us also foster and keep our memories alive. And I think we can all pinpoint our lives to our football experiences.
And
right?
who better to ask about this than you, Jake? Because I mean, you're an 18-year-old kid who started watching Arsenal, essentially in the post 2006 Champions League era, and really, grew up in a time where Arsenal were struggling to get top four every year, and then eventually falling out of it. I know where your love for the team came from. Obviously, you were never given a choice about that, but how different is it for you actually having something of an indirect connection, hopefully through me, to some of the club's history? I mean, you probably know more about Arsenal in the 80s and 90s than a lot of kids would that are of your age right now. I'm not really sure what the question is, but that I'm asking, but is it different for you? Do you feel like a different connection to the club because of the history involved and how you're able to kind of sit at the feet of some people that can teach you about this stuff?
Right. I mean, I think it's interesting because I know a lot of Arsenal fans that are like my age from school and from playing with other players. But I definitely think the connection that I have with the team is a little bit more, it's a little different because of what I've heard from you and what I've learned from watching things and reading things and hearing from people.
And the people you've met. I mean, even,
I mean, I met a lot of people who have been supporting the team for a lot longer than I have, and I've heard stories about it. And I feel like I have a different connection to the team, not just from you putting it onto me, but from.
But that's what makes this club different. And I had no idea when I stumbled into the North Bank and went to my first game that just because they happen to be on the same tube line, I didn't know about the Arsenal way, and I didn't know about the family and the tradition and the red and how all that came to be. But and a lot of current fans don't care, doesn't register. All that registers is, first place and not accepting mediocrity and all that stuff. But like, it's so much more than that. And that's really, for a family member and for people who I've met, like Ryan and Aston and Sophie, who are like family members now because of what we share. That's what this club is about. And I just don't know that other clubs are like that. And so with your friends who are Chelsea fans and Real Madrid fans and that sort of thing, I think they all just suck. No, I'm just kidding.
Mike,
You
I will.
Your team like I do. That's the thing. That's what makes it different.
I know I'm going to duck out soon because you're going to bring in other guests. I just want to say, like, I will do everything all the time on our channel to preserve our legacy and our stories.
And you do a very.
There's a reason that Ruth Beck is one of my favorite humans on the planet. She is a very special person. Then you have a younger artist like Scene Sketches, but then you also have Stephen Nola Gooner, who does incredible work as well and is such a cool guy who has the legacy of coming from London to the United States. We've got Kev. It's so important because I see these new partnerships that are forming at the club. For example, I don't know anything really about is it Logan Paul or the other guy? That's going after a new fan. That's not about me or Generation X or baby boomers. That's all about the new fan, and that's fine. I totally understand that. But there is something that came before all of that matters, and it's really important that we keep that going. And I think what you're doing, and I'm so impressed year on year with this event and the work that you put into it. You're a man who has family. You've got 2 kids in college. You're a busy man doing, working in a career. But what you put into this is incredible, and it's so important. And look who you've brought to the table and who's here and who you're talking to in the next 24 hours plus. And oftentimes, no, I don't know if anyone tells you, but you should take a bow and pat yourself on the back because it's such a wonderful community and you're doing a really good thing at the end of the day and you're helping people. And that's really an important part of football that sometimes goes amiss because people would just want to talk about money and winning and all these different things. So I just wanted to say that before I duck out. And
thank you, Soph. And I did hear a lot of that on the Orlando and Baltimore tour. It's just, people coming up and saying they appreciate the work I'm doing. And it's great. I didn't really believe it was that big of a deal. I just was doing, as a passion project.
No, it's a really big, it's a really big deal.
So
and we've added a store to our community page. And we failed epically with our store last season. You know me, I'm not afraid to admit that, sometimes we do things great and sometimes you just don't have the time to put into it because we all, have a lot of podcasters, you guys, that you don't know, they have other gigs. Some people do it full time, some people don't. And last season, we had all this great merch that Nola Gooner, Stephen Feely helped us put together. And he's a wonderful human being and an epic person and gave his time to help us do that. And I'm determined this season to make it count. Why? Because the store's now up on our channel. And if we do sell anything, we want a lot of that to go to Gooners v Cancer and to the Ruth Becks and the artists in the world that we promote through our talented Gooners community and show, right? We also have a new partner called Zenith Coins, and I would like to give an exclusive coin to you guys. I don't know if you want to auction it or whatever. They're really special. They're actually the official license product partner for Arsenal Football Club. They're absolutely beautiful. They come in this incredible case. You get the box, you get the case, you've got your certificate of authenticity, and even your little polisher to keep your coin fresh. The coin is beautiful and it's amazing. And I'm going to put it out here. And we're developing some exclusive coins for the Highbury squad. And we'd love to give a bunch to you to do what you want with Gooners versus Cancer, whether it helps raise money or they're giveaways to all of the wonderful people who spend their money to help raise for a good cause.
Well, we love that. I appreciate that. We will definitely find a way of providing that as an incentive for people that are very generous. And speaking of which, on your way out, speaking of Ruth Beck, we have our midnight UK time, 7 p.m. Eastern time drawing. Will you stick around for the Ruth Beck drawing?
Yeah, sure. I can do that real quick.
And while I'm doing the randomizer, I know I'm asking you a lot by having this short of a period of time. Can you do a minute to 2 minutes on Maria Petri? Because, Ruth Beck, obviously, massive part of her life and the art that she's done now. And I'm hearing that's going to go to the family. It's amazing. But I know that you can put better into words than I could what Maria meant to this fan base.
There's so I have to say the last 2 weeks have been a bit emotional. Sometimes also you don't know what's going on in people's lives. People have struggles. People have things that are happening that, are really big. And Maria was a voice for women. And as a Greek woman, she was a teacher. I don't know if a lot of people know that Maria was a teacher, but, she was a very special human being. And as a young Greek girl growing up who wasn't allowed to go to football matches, desperately wanted to go. I always see my male cousins going off to the games and I could never go. I was never allowed. And Maria broke through that barrier. And as a Greek woman herself, just said, F you. I love football and I'm going and this is, what I'm doing. And she gave us a voice big time. And then to meet her and for us to become friends was incredible. And that's all thanks to Jack Stevenson, who I know, Mike, that you love and adore as well. He's a very special human being. He does a lot of things for a lot of different people. And when I was there in April, I got to hang out.
Jake got to meet Jack in April as well.
He's just a cool guy. And, I met Maria through him a few years ago. And, we became friends and exchanged WhatsApp messages. And then when I saw her and we took pictures, I'm so happy I was there in April because it was the last time that I saw her. But she'd go to every game, every women's game, every men's game, every academy game. She was an unconditional lover of Arsenal Football Club. When people talk about their dogs and unconditional love and people and unconditional love, Maria had unconditional love for the Arsenal Football Club. Her quote, and she said it herself, when I die, I'm just going to be really upset that I can't go to see the Arsenal. And this weekend, it really came back to me because she would have loved seeing England women win the Euros. She loved Beth Mead. She loved the Gooner girls. She was a massive supporter and fan of them. And her voice could be heard loud and proud every single game. She was there. Kev remembers her voice when he was playing at Highbury. And I know that would have been an epic weekend for her. So these women have come a long way. A lot of people are kind of still poo-pooing it. Like, what, can't, how, what? No, you don't know because you haven't been on that journey. It's not been easy for women. When the last time we won the World Cup, we weren't even allowed to play football. We were banned from playing football. And now you've got all these incredible women doing these great things. And you've got broadcasters who've both broken the mold and broken the ceiling. And so to every single trailblazer that came before, the Leanne Sandersons of the world, the Alex Scotts, to see Jill Scott, to see Ellen White lift that trophy, to see all of these women, to the 99ers, the US women's national team that have also helped lead the way. It's an incredible journey and we're here at this destination. And I hope that they capitalize on this from a club level perspective as well and keep the momentum going. So it's a massive moment and I'm really proud to just have a small part of that.
Your connection with Maria was unique, and our hearts and thoughts are with you. As a member of her extended family dealing with her passing. We know that the club recognized it in a very respectful way.
I think the club are going to do some really cool things for Maria and
I
her
had
legacy.
I had some words with the club, but I kind of figured I was preaching to the choir already, which is a good thing to, rather than the alternative, which is, for someone like myself to have to explain it to them. They knew. In her honor, we have a Ruth Beck art print. Show it real quick of the what do we have?
Come on, you Gunners!
We have the two flags, the double, I guess, league champions and cup winners, and we're going to auction this off right now, and then we're going to bring in our next guest. We'll rotate you out, Soph, and bring in someone very special to join us as well. And here is the random drawing again. Maximum of one Ruth Beck art print, maximum of one jersey able to be won. We've raised over $1,600 so far just today for Gooners versus Cancer. It is not too late. It is just the right time to get your money into goonersvcancer.com. And the winner of this Ruth Beck art print is Jerome Marks. Jerome Marks, congratulations. And just to show this is completely randomized because you get more tickets the more money you donate, but any donation can win. Any donation is appreciated. Jerome put in $5 and has won an art print, and we appreciate the donation. I got to get rid of Andy's face under here. How do we do that? I'll show you what that picture is, because if you missed the first hour, it was a pretty funny moment of the three of us kind of somehow figuring out a way of joining hands.
Awesome. Lee, bless him.
And this was Lee's idea. I don't really understand why he did that, but
so adorable.
But in any case, so we love you.
Thank you. Love you guys too. And the women's game wouldn't have grown without the support of men. And there's a lot of great men in the Arsenal community and in the football community. So thanks to everyone who supports women in sports and especially in football, because it's really important and it means a lot. And thanks for having me.